Hi, I'm Charla with Freezer Meals 101. Back to school is rapidly approaching, and I know for some of you it's started already. So I thought that today we could do some back to school snacks that are great for school lunches. One thing that I like to do is make an area in my freezer. I have a little bin, but you can just, designate a shelf or whatever works best for you. But to have an area in your freezer where your kids know that those are the things they're allowed to pack for their school lunches or for after school snacks. So they just know that they can quickly go in and grab whatever they need, throw it in their lunch bag, and be done. It's a lot less work for you if they're kind of in on the plan. And it also is helpful if they're in on even planning what you make, because that way you know they're actually gonna eat it. Today, I have a pretty ambitious plan. I think the chances of me getting this entire list done are slim to none. But I always like to plan for a lot. That way, if I end up with extra time, it has never happened yet, but it could, then, I can make use of that extra time and make some extra snacks for the freezer. But my mom has the kids at the park for a few hours, and some of them are at work and doing their thing. But the younger ones are at the park with my mom. When they're back, and I'll be done. And whatever we get done before then is a bonus. So let's get started. I'm not gonna read the list to you because I don't wanna disappoint you if there are things on there that you're like, oh, I can't wait to watch that recipe, and then I don't get to it. So we'll just do what we can do, and whatever doesn't get done today, I will do another day, and I'll be sure to film that for you so that you can see everything that I had planned. Okay. This first thing is just a very simple snack mix, and you might not have known that you can freeze your snack mixes, and that helps them stay better for longer. There are a few things that don't freeze in your snack mix, so like sometimes in my snack mixes I'll put mini marshmallows, but I don't, that's a texture thing that after they're frozen then they're hard and stuff, so don't freeze mini marshmallows in your snack mix. But these other things, they're gonna freeze beautifully. The first thing we're gonna do is 1.5 cups of banana chips. I'm allergic to bananas, so I'm just gonna not touch these, and then I'll make sure to wash anything that I use that touched this right after. Oh look, I said I wasn't gonna touch them and then they fell on the counter. Anyway, we'll see. I'm gonna have to be inventive. You know what? I'm just gonna put the whole thing. It's gonna end up being about 2 cups, but whatever. Okay, so my body's not even really liking the smell of that, I'm gonna be honest, but I'll survive. It's not an anaphylactic allergy, so you don't need to call emergency services or anything like that. We are gonna do some sunflower seeds next. Now, I thought I had plain sunflower seeds, and I do right here, but these are going in a different recipe. So I had these honey roasted ones, and I figure they'll just add a little bit more flavor into the snack mix, so why not? So 3/4 cup. So because I did extra of the banana chips, I'm gonna do a full cup of these honey roasted sunflower seeds. You can use just plain sunflower seeds for yours, or go all out and do the honey roasted. Okay, next we're going to do some white chocolate chips, and just 1/3 cup. This is just so that the kids are like, ooh, it's a treat. There's little chocolate chips in there. You don't want to like overload this. You don't want to do like a 1/2 cup or a full cup of this, because you don't want them to be getting a lot of sugar. It's just, this makes it like fun and a treat. And now we're gonna do some dried mango. They didn't have, the nice little cubes of mango? They didn't have that at the grocery store today. So I had to get these. They're giant. So I'm gonna cut them. My kids love mango. I'm not sure how they feel about dried mango, but We'll find out. So I'm gonna grab a knife, cut those, put those in there, and I'll speed this next part up, and then I'll be back with how to bag those. Now that we have our mixture all mixed, we're going to just put it into sandwich bags. Forgot to mention that you can also add shredded coconut, but I have kids who love coconut and kids who hate coconut, and there is really no in between. So for this particular recipe, I'm using coconut in a later recipe, but for this one, I'm just gonna leave the coconut out of it. That way everybody will be pretty happy. So, because one of the kids who loves coconut doesn't like fruit, so she's not gonna eat this anyway. But I'm using the sandwich size bags. If you have younger kids or they're not gonna eat as much, you could use the snack size bags. Now, these are not officially freezer safe, but doesn't matter because we're gonna put these inside a freezer safe bag, or you can put them inside a plastic freezer safe container and put a lid on it and just keep these in the regular sandwich bags. So that's what I do. There you go, first snack is done. Now, if my kids like this particular mixture, because I've made different snack mixtures in the past, if they like this mixture, then the next time I will double or triple it, because it takes just as much time to make a small amount as it does to make a big amount. And so I would rather just make a whole bunch at one time, and this will last for months in the freezer, so you might as well make a lot and get more lunches out of it. So the next thing we are going to move on to, trying to decide if I should do like the faster recipes first, like this one, or get a few of the more complicated ones out of the way. One thing that I want to make for sure is the granola bars, because my family, including my husband, have been asking for them, and it's been a while since I had our freezer stocked with granola bars. I probably should be doubling that recipe too, but honestly I didn't do much shopping for this little plan of mine, so I don't have enough of the ingredients to double it. So we're just gonna make one recipe. It does make a lot. I think it's like, oh, I forget. Maybe it's like 5 dozen, 6 dozen, something like that of the granola bars. So it makes a lot. So I'll just make the one recipe because that's what I have, and we will get to that. That's a little bit more of a complicated one because we're gonna do some things on the stovetop, stir it, then we're going to put it in the fridge to cool, and then we're gonna take it out and cut it, and then we're gonna put it in the freezer flat on the cookie sheet to cool, and then we're gonna take it out and transfer it to a bag. So it is a bit of a process, but according to my family, they are the best granola bars in the world. So if you trust their taste, then you might want to give these a try. I'm gonna clear this off and then we'll get started. I'm not gonna go through all the steps in the granola bars, like I'll show you, but I'll speed through that so that you're not sitting watching like an hour-long video on how to make freezer snacks. But I am going to put the recipes all down below. I'll put a link down in the description box, and that way you can get the full instructions. It'll walk you through like every step. I've written out like exactly what to do, you know, pressing them down with the other pan and all those things. But the important thing to know is, of course, you want to get all the air out of your freezer bag because air is the enemy. It causes your freezer burn. You want to cook the one bit and then cool it. Well, you know what? I'm giving you all the instructions. Just go to the link if you want to make them yourself. Read the instructions. That'll be a lot easier than me telling you all twice. But let's get to it. thing we're going to make is homemade hummus. We're gonna make it really simply. We're not gonna use tahini. We're just gonna use a very straightforward recipe. Now, if you wanna cheat, you can use store-bought hummus. It freezes well also. So I'll just walk you through the recipe quickly. We're actually gonna use these little cups and lids so that we have little individual portions of the hummus, and the kids can pack this in their lunch for school or work in the case of my older kids. And this way they can use it with vegetables to dip it in, or they can use pita chips, or I don't know, what else is there? Tortilla chips, I guess, crackers? Yeah, anyway, whatever they want, they can use this little individual hummus dip, and it's going to be less expensive and healthier than those pre-packaged little mini hummus thingies that you get in the store. Much cheaper anyway. So we're gonna do, I drained and rinsed our chickpeas, or garbanzo beans, if you want to call them that. And we're gonna do 4 tablespoons water, 2 tablespoons olive oil, a tablespoon-ish, let me see. Yeah, a tablespoon of lemon juice, some garlic. I'm cheating on the garlic and using the pre-minced garlic, but however you want to do it. A little bit of cumin, a little bit of salt. That's it. See? No tahini. Super easy recipe. If you want to add tahini, you totally can. It freezes also. So we're gonna blend that in the blender and then scoop it into our individual things. And because these are probably not technically freezer safe, I'm going to again put them inside a freezer safe bag or container in order to store them. That's it. As simple as that. If you want to add like some red pepper flakes, if your kids like things spicier, you can do that too. So I'm pretty happy with how those turned out. I only ended up with 9 of them, so I definitely could have doubled the recipe. But again, we'll see how my kids like having them in their lunches. And if they're a huge hit, I might have to make some more. So while I was waiting for that granola bar mixture to boil, I decided to go ahead and make some energy balls. The reason is that, well, first you gotta make the best use of your time that you can, and I'm in a hurry, but also because energy balls need a lot of the same ingredients that the granola bars do, and if you're using like ingredients, it saves you time and money. So I decided to use the white chocolate chips in there. Sometimes I use dried cranberries or regular chocolate chips, but since I had leftovers of those white chocolate chips that we used for the snack mix, I put those in there, and some flax seeds, sunflower seeds, peanut butter and honey. So those are the same things that we're using in the granola bars. And so just mix that up, and now it's over in the fridge cooling so that it will make it easier. I'm gonna leave it like about 15 minutes. That will make it easier to shape into the balls. Those freeze so well, and they're great for an on-the-go breakfast or for lunches. If your kids can't take peanut butter to school, then you can substitute sun butter or wow butter or whatever your favorite peanut butter substitute is. If you're looking for other time-saving and money-saving tips for feeding your family, then I invite you to subscribe and check out some of our other videos. I have a ton of videos on make ahead freezer snacks, lunches, breakfasts, and of course, what we are most well known for are freezer meals. For the energy balls, it's a super forgiving recipe. You can substitute whatever you don't have with whatever you do have. There's so many different variations. I included some of those variations in the recipe, so again, I'll put that link down below and you can see what might work for you. In this one today, I did actually use coconut, even though not all of my kids like coconut, because I find in the energy balls, there's enough in there that kind of hides the taste a little bit. And most of the kids eat them, even the ones that say they don't like coconut. So anyway, you can use coconut or not use coconut or whatever. We're just gonna go and grab that dough and start rolling those. I use a cookie scoop because cookie dough scoop, I guess I should say, because then they're all a uniform shape. The granola bars, we're cooling them in the fridge right now, and then I'm going to take them out and cut them, and then I'm going to put them in the freezer to kind of flash freeze or flat freeze, depending on how you like to say that. And then when they are fully frozen, I'm going to transfer them into the freezer bags, take out all the air of course, and put them back in the freezer. I have to tell you that my husband came home while I was filming the making of the granola bars, and they will not all make it into the freezer. It didn't even all make it to the point of cutting, so it's a favorite recipe of his. Anyway, I did not manage to get my list done at all. In fact, I didn't even come close, but 2 of my kids are home, 2 others are on their way home. Probably actually another one will be home any moment. So the house is getting loud. My husband's home. It's like I can hear all these things. So if it was just a matter of getting the things made, I could get it done, but I cannot get it done on video without driving you guys absolutely bonkers. So we're just going to roll the energy balls, slice the granola bars and get them in the freezer. And that's it. We only got 4 recipes done today, which was a lot less than I was hoping for. But I'm pretty happy with the granola bars because that is a multi-step process, and it's just so nice to get that done and get those in the freezer. Because I didn't get as much done as I was hoping to, I'm going to have to do a back to school snacks part 2. So stay tuned for that. Once that is done, I will put the link right there, but it'll be a while. So thank you guys so much for joining me today on another freezer cooking adventure, and happy cooking.